feels right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with just you laying flat on the table with the head down there and then your feet on top of the pillow. Okay. Laying face up. Cool. Yeah, and so what's great about utilizing the table with the swing is it's allowing for deeper relaxation. Okay, so we're moving out of the same mindset that in relationship that this needs to be exercise, like the swing being used for exercise, and we're actually using it for exploration. So that's going to be the shift, right? And we're going to focus on, you do know a lot of the poses, which is really helpful, but we're going to focus on these different movements. And the movements are going to open up the flow of the body. We're opening up the connective tissue. Instead of focusing on muscles, we're focusing on the communication between all of the parts and pieces. This sheath over the body is the interface between the skin and the fascia and the bones and cellular communication. So we want to work with all of those things simultaneously. So there's a little bit of a different intentionality which will change the experience. Yeah. Okay, so you get to be passive and just enjoy, and you also get to be active and participate in the movements and stretching. So we're going to play with both styles and both experiences because they'll have a different response in the body. Some of the things will be hands-on and incorporating other modalities in body work. So let's lift your feet and get your feet in here at the ankles. We're just going to hook the ankles for now. We could spread it out as well. So sometimes there will be the incorporation of different techniques, and then other times it'll just be rocking, swaying movement. So I want you to keep this little bit of a sway going with the legs, just gently. So just see what happens naturally, like see if there's a natural momentum that starts to happen. So already we're getting a stretch in the legs, we're rocking the pelvis and allowing the hips to come into balance. So just allow the body to land. Feel there to be a grounding in the lower body, especially after a long journey to get here. But just let this be a really sweet, gentle start. And as the body gets used to this kind of lubrication of the joints and hydration, and we are going to focus for you on this connection to the hips after having that injury. So it was the right hip, right?
Yes.
And it's been about a year and a half, right? A year and a few months?
Yes.
Good. So we're just going to continue to increase the circulation to the hips, but also increase the flexibility so the new circuitry can come back online. So the injuries usually kind of create a break, right? A break or a block, which will build up in the connective tissue. That'll look like the fascia, that'll look like the lymph, that'll look like the musculature. So all of that is really the same web, you know. It's like a fibrous web that goes over the body that allows for the energy to flow. Energy to flow in the form of blood and oxygen, but also just as life force. So then I'm going to move into some push-pull movements, just really gently elongating and stretching through the IT band here. Does that feel like the limit right there? Yeah.
It's still comfortable.
Okay, good.
I can feel the
Yeah.
a tiny bit of tension.
Yeah, there's like a natural end point to stretching, you know, and we just play with that space. So we're not trying to go to a max. We're actually allowing there to be more softening into that edge, and then there'll be a natural expansion that comes when everything starts to lubricate and open. So we play with like that edges instead of pushing past them, because then we get the rubber band effect where it tends to contract. Or even if I would pull too hard, then the body starts to pull back and creates a little bit of resistance. But when I'm working with the support and the suspension, It allows the body to move with the movement, and that's what we're encouraging, the moving with. Mm-hmm. Yeah, working with the fluids is tapping into the elemental of water, like the yin-like quality of it, and how it moves in the body, particularly when it comes to the pelvis, which is the bowl of the fluids and the emotions. You know, I see the bowl of the pelvis, the second chakra being the water element, representing the water element. So how can we get more into that flow, not only in the body, but in representing our mind and our emotions and our movements in the world, our mindset. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we just don't even get into these positions. We're working with the spirals and the spins and getting into the twists of the body. And when we get out of the linear movements, the joints being spherical, they get much more lubrication and mobility in all directions. So there's a lot of spins and spirals and twists that we focus on, which just happens naturally when we use the swing to trace the shape.
So it's really cool too, because I was thinking if I had to rely on my core to do this kind of stretch,
Yeah,
I couldn't do it
that's
now.
right.
But the stretch feels wonderful.
Yeah, that's right. And you can hold it for a lot longer as opposed to muscling into a position.
Right.
The swing holding in a position as well, what allows the connective tissue to open up.
Yeah, I'm not tense.
Exactly. Yeah. So when the nervous system is relaxed, the body unfurls. And when you release that tension, that's when the pathway is open. That's when the communication can open up. Really good. Yeah, and feel free to give any sort of feedback while we're rolling along here of how it feels, what you like, what you want to experience more of. And yeah, I like your feedback and participation in terms of what you're experiencing too. It's all very helpful.
Well, I had a question earlier.
Yeah.
When your thumb was on the side of my inside of my leg there, I noticed that is kind of a tense, not tense, but tender point. And I'm wondering about that because it felt good to have the pressure there, but it was just interesting because I don't know what it's about.
Yeah, thank you. So what I'm doing is I'm not doing like regular massage with you. You probably figured that out over the years.
Yeah.
What I'm doing is I'm hitting certain points. We could call them acupressure points, but they're part of the circuitry to open up the lines of communication. So I can feel where it's stuck and I can feel where it's open. And so if I hit a point, then that means I'm kind of, the points are like gates, if you will, which is different than kind of the big effleurage movements that they do in massage, which is nice. And sometimes I'll do that to kind of spin and spiral the energy in a specific way. But when I'm hitting points, I'm opening up the circuitry in different gates. And we all have parts that are stuck, but we've talked quite a bit about how the shins and calves are tight. And so we work on, you know, the stomach line, the spleen, the liver, the gallbladder. All of these points are hitting organs that are not necessarily just organs, physical organs. They represent energetic systems, and they were just named after the organs.
Right.
Let's do some elongation here too. But that's a great question. Like, what was that when we hit a tender spot? What's happening there? And my focus is to push that button to activate the path and release the congestion that's built up there. When it's tender like that, it's usually in excess, but it could also be deficient if it feels more like a hole. Sometimes they'll feel like inflated balloons with like too much air. And sometimes they'll feel like, you know, this little abyss where it feels empty, and that would be deficient. But I'm just measuring the different systems as I do this and open it up. But the good news is we're working all the energy lines together instead of just hitting points. That's the beauty about moving in multidimensional space. All the lines are participating. And so this gentle elongation and tractioning is opening up the whole pathway through the legs, but it's focused on creating a little bit more space. So the space is the remedy. That is the answer that the body is looking for when there's been a lot of compression and contraction. Just the right amount of space. We don't want to pull too much and create too much space where the body has to protect itself. Just enough for the energy to flow through those major hubs. And the major hubs we work with are the neck and shoulders and lower back and hips. But there are 5 areas that we're able to use the fabric, and we can put the swing around the ankles like we're doing, and then we'll move up to the knees. We can put it directly around the lower back, behind the heart, and also at the neck and head. And just that little bit of space feels so good, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Very relaxing. Okay, cool. And then we're just going to play with, as we transition from ankles to knees, I'm actually just going to spread all this out. So it can cover, and now you can bend your knees a little bit, right? And now it can cover the whole length of the calf. And then we can get into a little bit more of these dynamic movements with a lot more variations, right? Isn't that nice? You come into a twist.
It's really cool. I can feel how stuff works in a different way.
Yeah.
You know, when you're walking,
Yeah.
it's different.
It is different.
But even when you're doing the swing, it's different. This is really cool.
Yeah. And so notice when I'm rotating here, I'm pushing and pulling in the space, and so I'm actually creating more openness and length than just coming into a twist and pushing down, which would create compression. So it's the push and the pull that actually allows for even more movement, right? Because you can go way further now than you normally can without any pain, right? You can tell me if anything feels uncomfortable about this. And you can try this yourself. So I want you to go ahead and straighten your legs, trace that shape, and go all the way around. Go ahead and do some movements yourself and explore.
It's a little harder to do it smoothly
by
myself, but I can still do it. And it's interesting, depending on how far I've come with my knees, I feel it in my organs too.
That's right.
Which could be interesting.
You're getting a little organ massage for sure. Well, I want you to just play with smoothing that out, because that's exactly it. And just play with it, you know, like really relax and have fun, and let your legs be heavy, because the swing is holding you, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to hold it.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah. And just kind of use the momentum, because we're working with free energy. We're working with momentum, because it can be effortless. Let your hands be here just so your knees can go a little further. Yeah, there you go. There you go. And when you smooth out this movement, it's actually allowing the track, the space where the ball and joint come together, to get into a larger range of motion. And that smoothing it out is actually repairing all of those linear movements that have kept it in just one plane, right?
I'm finding it harder for some reason to release my weight when I go to the left.
Good information.
This one, and I'm going to try it again from the beginning.
Yeah. So this is why we want you to play and explore too, because we get a lot of information. And I can see where it's a little jaggedy, you know, like, and where it's smooth, and that's okay, because the hips have kind of gone through a rearrangement after this injury.
And also, I'm not used to doing it this way, so it's like figuring out when do I hold and when do I really just relax into it.
And I'm just going to help you a little bit smooth it out, because sometimes hands-on helps us, helps our body to remember. And nice and slow is definitely the way. So that's beautiful. That's it. And moving from side to side like this, transitioning from left and right, is really good for our brain. It's really good for the vagus nerve, and it's really good for the interface, the corpus callosum, and using both the left and right hemispheres. So we're really retraining the muscles and circuitry by moving in this multidimensional way, changing planes, I like to call it.
Just mean don't start getting right and left, correct?
Well, no, because then you come back into unity, which is the spherical nature, and there is no left and right. There's only spin.
Okay.
Yeah. So therefore your mind just blows up in that moment.
That's okay.
Yeah. You're like, okay. Yeah. Tapping into the holographic reality. That's why some brains, the linear relationship, the measurements of left and right don't make much sense.
So as I get
Yeah.
as I try to pull my hips closer, my knees closer, that's where I start to get.
Yeah. Well, why don't you try not pulling it closer, but letting it go out? Yeah.
Okay.
See how that's different than the contraction of pulling it closer?
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like it's good to experiment with what does it feel like to actually like expansion come out instead of trying to pull in. Right? It's easier to do it with someone else. Yeah. But the idea is we don't want to go past that edge. There's a natural edge that you were going past.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what I meant when you have to start to push and create contraction. It's different than the spatial movements that create elongation.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we can just play at the edges, which is super fun because then we can really get in. So your legs are relaxed now. Yeah. Because now we can get into some of the hips and lower back even more, right? Because that's adding like a big twist and opening up the spine. Yeah. Good. How's that feel?
Feels good.
And so in one direction I'm pulling, and now in this direction I can just push. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
You can let it be. I'll get it. But thanks for keeping track. Yeah, just whatever it's going to do, it's going to do. We're working on the hips now, so that's okay. So I'm going to come around and do that on this side. Both the pull and the push. Go ahead, come into the bend. Nope, the other way.
There.
Yeah.
Right.
Either way, we're going to do both, but I'll do the push first on this side. And you just tell me if it's too much. Does that feel like too much?
No, it feels good. I think that for me, when I do a new movement, there's always a little tension. I have to remember to breathe my way into relaxation.
Right. And I like how you're using your breath and actually saying just softly relax to the body. Because when we talk to the body, it starts to respond. Yeah. Well, most of the time. On a good day. Yeah. All right. Straighten it out. Go ahead and come through the movement. Nice and easy. Come back over. Let this hand come up. There you go, then. And I just like to hug. So for me, I'm just going to hug and lean back. Let it be nice and easy. And sometimes what I'll do is this little pulse. Just real gentle pulsing and pulling. So did you like the push more or the pull more? What did you think?
I think I like the pull.
Yeah. Tell me why. Can you get a sense of it?
I feel that I have a tendency towards contraction more. That's
right.
So the pull is helpful.
Yeah.
And I don't overextend as much as I am likely to tense side.
And we don't get as much pull. You know, there's a lot of push in general in the body. A lot of pushing it, effort. Yeah. Let's the knee. We're going to collect at the knees and let this. So this is a different experience too, because I love it spread out, and then I just love it kind of at the knees where we can just let the knees rock back and forth. You know, you can have your feet touching down or not, but it's just nice because then you can pick up, the knees and pull them towards the chest. And then you can straighten them out. And I created like this rowing movement almost, right? And pushing and pulling there, but then we can add a little bit of a sway from side to side and create a little bit more of a twist. And then notice this twist when I'm twisting you at the ankles. See how that creates a different spin?
Yeah.
Than just side to side. So the spins feel really different than the linear movements. And so I love this big arc. Or arch that we're able to do in the body. It's very different. And we do a little bit of this in the swing in the air. Beverly usually practices with me in the air. But this is great. We've been doing just a little bit with you and for you. And I love the pull as well. So on my body, pull just feels so much better than push. And I've been really wanting to explain why. When working with different practitioners, why is it so important for example, we can push down into an area, but I also like pushing away. And this dynamic tension, you know, this pulling and pushing in the body makes a huge difference for the hips. So we can push down, but what we're doing is pushing 75% away. So there's a little down. But getting into that joint and just creating a little bit of space just feels like magic. Yeah, and it is inviting all of the connective tissue to lengthen and soften very gently.
Well, and space for fluid too.
To both wring out, you know, rinse out the fluid that's collected there. The lymph gets very congested in the hips and shoulders, the underarms and groin. So it's inviting that, but then it's also inviting the rush of energy in. So that's another thing I really like to do here. So we're going to get to the lower back, but if we can get this behind your heart, I want to work with the spins and spirals together. There you go. See how Beverly does. And then get your arms through here. Yeah, just let it pull down once you get in. Watch your hair. That's it. Good. Wiggle your way in.
Good thing I cut my hair.
Oh, you did. That's right. Let this be a little bit higher on the shoulder blades. We use it a little higher when we're on the table.
Okay.
Yeah, so it has a nice platform.
Okay.
Now use your chillaxin arms to go ahead and clasp behind the back of the head, right at the occipital ridge, so you're supporting the head. Yeah, elbows nice and wide, nice strong clasp. And then we're going to just play with this movement of swaying the upper body. And then when you're ready, we're also going to incorporate twisting or windshield wipering the legs with the lower body. And just try it. Let's see how that feels.
Feels really good.
Yeah, so simple. We don't have to do big dynamic movements. We can, but just this gentle rocking and swaying just feels so amazing on the body. And why is that? Why is this harmonic movement so nourishing? The nervous system gets to calm down for one, and this is a very unusual opportunity for a lot of people, particularly with the overstimulation and the overactivity of the nervous system into a state of contraction in the last couple of years. People's bodies are kind of stuck in a state of contraction. And when it's being supported, when it's being suspended, when you get to use gravity and what I call free energy, when you get into these harmonic movements and spiral dynamics, the angular momentum, it taps into free energy, right? Like effortless, right? So, yeah. And then when the nervous system relaxes like that and the body gets the movement, creating lubrication and just natural circulation, the movement creates the circulation, moving the energy around, and things start to open up. And then stay hooked, keep supporting your head, but I like to come in and work with the edges then. And I'm moving with the sway, with the spiral, and then accentuating the edges. I like to just kind of arc and open the side body. It's okay on the arms?
Yeah.
There we go. Let's really accentuate this one side. See that big curve that goes all the way down into the hip. Beautiful. Opening up the intercostals, the lungs, the obliques. Beautiful subscap. So I call this the side body, like the underbelly side of the body. It doesn't ever get this much space or movement, right? So I can do it that way. Then I can also just push and pull in the space again. So that was the tractioning that we were doing. That's it. Bend your knees a little bit more and plenty of the space. There we go. Oh, yay. Beautiful, Beverly. That's like a big extended twist happening. Yeah. And you can see when there's an invitation to participate, it's different than passive.
Yeah.
You can go even further. It's gorgeous. Let's just stay here and rock. This gentle rocking. So don't hold and make it so tight. Rock. Yeah. That's it. That's it. See that softness changed it? That's it. Yeah. Thank you. Let's try the other side. Just keep going around. That's it. Gorgeous. Yeah, can you see how there's a flow that happens in the body? It just starts doing it itself. Yeah, smoothing it out. Some of those edges that get tight. And you can even pulse a little bit at the same time. I know you're like double dutch. Just this little pulse with the hips too. You're like, maybe. Like how your upper body stopped.
We didn't practice.
Right. How does this work? Yeah, there's no getting it wrong. That's the good news. Yeah, it's just, it almost has like a bounce, right? Like how the body comes back like that. Isn't that nice?
It's really nice.
So nice. Yay. Okay, great. Oh, yeah, come into a big back bend. Just let the head come down to the table. You can even lift the hips up and let the leg loops start to slide up and down a little bit. I want you to focus on massaging the back.
Yeah. That's not the leg loops that I let slide.
I know, these are the leg loops. Yeah, no, that's good. The yellow are leg loops. That's what I'm calling them.
Oh,
and the blue is the swing.
Okay.
It's the same setup. It's just I looped the leg loops into a straddle. A saddle. Yeah, so just play a little bit, with bridge, letting it massage out the back. You can lift and lower your upper body as well as the hips. Yes. Let it dig in.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Beautiful. And the blue swing can stay where it is, or if you felt like bringing it up to the hips, you can do that too. Just see what would feel good. Yeah, or even on the bum, it doesn't have to be even all the way up to the hips. You can play with the combination. It can be spread out or bunched up. Yeah.
The spreading is a little confusing. There we go.
Release your hand for a second.
Yeah, I think you can see better than I can.
Yeah, and now if you grab here, you can spread it out.
Yeah,
that's I can see a little better from this angle. Yeah, see that gives the bum a little bit more support too. Isn't that nice? Mm-hmm. And the other thing you can do is you can actually reach up and utilize the handholds.
You know me, I'm already ready to go.
I know.
Inversion.
No, you are. You're getting there. But we're going to massage up and down the back. So do a bicep curl, lift yourself up, and let the yellow fabric slide up. Nice and slow. Just keep digging in, Let it kind of work the paraspinals in a new way where you can massage yourself with the fabric. That's right. Mm-hmm. That's it. Beautiful. Go up and down a few times. Take your time. Just do some undulations, curling in and then arching, leaning back. That's it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it is so delicious to do inversions from here. You can stay longer. We have lots of variations we can do. It's the best, as you well know. You're already on board. I don't need to convince you. It's the best. So just a couple more, and then we are going to get into our peaceful warrior.
Well, it's interesting. The one thing that happened just now was got a little cramp in my left thigh while I was doing that. And I thought, I'm not even hardly putting any pressure there. It's just odd.
That's right. Well, the information tries to move once we open up the pathways, and then it'll hit the next
block.
The next block will show itself. So it's always good to track that or trace it, because it will open. We just got to create some movement there, right? Like, what is a cramp, right? It's a contraction.
Right.
So we want to create some space and elongation through those parts that have been cramping. Sometimes we have to do some kind of shaking or pulsing to open up a cramp too, so that's okay to do, just to you know how I like to shake, but straighten your legs again. That was good. And just wiggle your feet back and forth, give them a chance to just, vibrate. That's it. Yeah, whatever feels good. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull the blue one up around the hips as well. You can keep leaning back. Get it into a good position. Hips. Yeah. Spread, bunch it up a little bit more so you can wrap your legs around, because we're going into the inversion now.
Okay, like that. More. Oh, more.
You gotta wrap your legs around.
More.
Let your head hang off this edge of the table here. Come towards me. Yeah, get your hair. There you go. So this is even the sweetest little in-between pose, right? Of letting the neck drop and kind of getting the shoulders open. And you already know what to do, but I want you to stay holding on for a second. And go ahead and wrap both legs around, outside in. Wrap the legs outside in around all the fabric. So, yeah, it's a little bit easier to hold on to do that. That's why you needed to get that blue swing higher, right? Otherwise that leg wasn't going to wrap. That's it. Feet touch, so you're making a diamond with the legs, and now your arms can come overhead, and you can play with coming off the edge of the table. Yeah, as much as you want. That's it. Good. And I want you to just explore and play in the space for a moment, and then I'm going to come in and do some active stretching. See what feels good for today. Nice and slow, like you're moving through water. You can do some wiggles and everything, but then come back to those fluid motions, fluid movements. And sometimes it's good to just hold and hang, right? You don't have to do a whole lot. Does this yellow one feel okay, or does it want to be a little bit lower?
It's actually comfortable.
Yeah.
I thought it should be lower, but it seems fine.
It's squeezing the QL, which is fantastic. And with, you know, we have a lot more fabric than when we just hang by the swing itself. So the double leg loops and the swing give so much more support and hold. So it's not as uncomfortable as if it was just the one, right? Good. Let's try straightening one leg and keeping the other one bent. So yeah, pick one. Straighten that one. Keep it hooked still. Straighten but hooked. And then this one bends, and this allows for a little bit of a twist to happen in the body. I know, you're like, if she does it.
I love it.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Yeah.
Very nice.
And I like to just kind of push and pull in the space like I was doing. Yeah, you can really play with the edge of the table, which is super nice. Roll back around. Try the other side. Bring it down. So you lengthen through the leg, and that, yeah, there you go. Make sure the toes are okay on that carabiner. And that initiates this big spiraling twist. So the dynamic twist in this position I'm calling corkscrew. It looks like a corkscrew. It's my favorite as well. It's just so delicious. And I get to work the hip and the leg and create all this space. Sometimes I'll even stretch the arm back in the opposite direction. Yeah, if the shoulder likes it. There we go. Roll the shoulder around a little bit. And come back nice and slow. See, you got all that free energy and momentum. Let's try one more time each side. Go ahead and straighten the left leg. Yeah, and play with initiating the twist from the hips, not your upper body. Come up. Try it from the hips. Yes, that's it. And come from the twist coming from the lower body, which then allows the upper body to twist. Just let the edge of the table feel really good, hitting the subscap and kind of digging in there a little bit. I love that feeling. Like, when does the body ever get to do this movement, right? Let's do the arm stretch on this side as well. Just come on back. Yeah. Keep the lower body twisting. Just, yes, that's it. So that space just opened up. That was it. It's just a directional, you don't have to force it, right? But then, whoop, come right back. There you go. All right, second side. Okay. You're like,
Just for my personal.
I know. You're like, and I'm exposed to the world. All right.
Okay, so we're
Twist
doing this side.
Yeah. Straighten. There you go. Moving from the hips. That's it. See, you get to go so much further. You can even hold on to the table with your hands if you wanted. Yeah. There you go. Beautiful. Doesn't that feel amazing?
Yeah.
Remember to let the head relax, right? Yeah. So we don't want to create tension on the neck as we're opening up the spine. That's it.
My brain has been the slowest to relax. For my body.
There we go.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah, so different. I love it. All right, rolling back around. Beautiful. Pull yourself back up onto the table. If you hold on, keep your legs there for a second.
Okay.
Try it. Hold on to the fabric and then just do a little lift and you can pull yourself up. Yeah, and I swing. Isn't that great? Now hold on. Let's just stay for a second and land. I know, eager. But I am going to just walk you through We still have plenty of time to do a little bit more legs. I like the head just hanging off the edge a little, so I'm going to come here. Does it feel good? Arms can be anywhere. Let's try the sides. Now I just want to do, so diamond with the legs for me. There you go. I'm just going to do a little push and pull here, adding a bit of a sway to the pelvis. And I know this is the tight spot, so I know it'll have a little bit of a glitchiness, so we're not going to go too far. I don't have to push too much to get the stretch, right? So just notice that little protection that happened there, and it's okay. Let's just notice.
More protection on the right still than on the left.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but they're working together, so it goes
Yeah.
It's okay. And I'm just noticing to give it an invitation that it's supported, it's relaxed, it's held. It's okay to just create this movement. So closed chain movement, that means the body is in a pattern that is set by the fabric that is held by this double point system will only create a certain range. Does that make sense? Hard to describe sometimes in the words, but like open chain means it doesn't have any pattern that it's following, nothing holding it, and therefore it can move in all directions. So this is moving in a
Cirque du Soleil.
like Cirque du Soleil. Or when you're at the gym, just lifting free weights. Yeah, one or the other. Okay, I'm going to create a little bit more of a push. Stretch, stretch, stretch. It's okay. We're going to pulse like that. Utilizing the breath. Beautiful breathing. Yeah, there's a natural endpoint there, and we don't have to push past it to get benefit, to get improvement. And then the other one I like to do here, obviously I like to climb up on the table, is I can do that little bit of sway from the other end. So the push versus the pull again, right? And just how different it is. And we're not trying to go too far. We're just creating a little bit of rocking. So that's a good one, right?
Yeah.
Just gently rocking the pelvis. If I come down a little bit lower, it has a little bit more range of motion.
I like both of those. I mean, the first one was nice to do first because it was a little
Yes.
gentler, but this is nice too.
Exactly. A little bit more, and I could even just do this a little bit quicker rocking, right?
Yeah.
Loosening up. And it's really effortless. I'm just using momentum and just letting the body's natural wave happen in the body, these rhythm waves that happen. It's like creating like an infinity loop in the hips from side to side. Okay, and then I can get into a little bit of a bigger movement here if I come in and pull this way. Right, more tractioning, more movement. But because I'm working closer to the hips, it feels safer than working further away. Right? Good. Big stretch for the back. Awesome. Okay, I think we did this one before. And you can pull yourself back so your neck hits the perfect place wherever you want to be. Wherever you're happy. There you go. Yeah, so you can push and pull in the space and move really effortlessly. Isn't that nice? Yeah. So let your head hang off if that feels good. Let's just do one leg at a time. Let's go ahead and do the right leg. So hold on one second. We're going to...
Oh, I thought you...
No, I did. I'm still in the middle of instructions. So we're not... It's okay. We're not just making a transition. We're actually going to start to open up the spiral dynamics in the movements when we're moving from one place in space to another. So it is the way that we move that is part of the pose. So the pose is the movement. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I want you to think of creating a big spiral as your leg goes up and out and kept straight out to the side, nice and slow, smooth, 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 and then rotates down. Beautiful. Come through center and then keep going over to the other side. Yeah. And then I want you to do the same thing. Back towards me.
Okay.
Out to the side. Nice and easy. You're holding your leg quite a bit. I want you to just let it kind of go with gravity.
Okay.
Like let this stretch happen, yeah. See how gravity's stretching you as opposed to you holding?
Yeah.
And then come up as much as possible, out to the side, bend, and back around. Okay?
Okay.
Beautiful. So
That's really nice.
isn't that nice? And so you're practicing the range of motion with your leg by letting it come up and around, letting gravity really stretch it, and then back up and around and hook. So the movement is the pose. We're not trying to get anywhere. We're actually trying to explore in space. Really good. So let's try that again. I'm going to let you do it. Nope, same leg. But yeah, I'll try that again on the same side.
Okay.
Same leg. Up and then out to the side, all the way down, getting that stretch, 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 stretch. Yep. And I'm going to have you come back for just a second so we can talk about the spirals. Nope, just right there. So this is an external spiral, and then you'll feel it when it goes to an internal spiral. When the toes start to turn in, you have to really work the rotation. And now we're internal spiral, all the way around. Oh, yep, back down. Beautiful. Internal, and then we start going external, 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 external. Yes. And that rotating of the spiral in the joint, that was beautiful, is what starts to not only neutralize, but it's hydrating and lubricating that movement that gets stuck right there, right?
Yes.
All right, go ahead and try that again.
So different leg though.
Sure.
This leg's ready.
Try that again, usually means same side, but yeah, let's go back and forth. You're right. This one's ready. So up and out, yep. And then change the spiral, internal as you're coming down, 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 yeah. All the way over. So I want you to practice that down first, just because this is a good stretch for you. So this is a stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want you to miss that before you come over into what I call jackknife, which is this way. Yes. Beautiful. And then back down. Down, and I know this is a bit of a stretch, but it's okay. Come out, external, external, external. Yeah, all the way down. Yes, and then wrap around. That was beautiful. You want to try that again on this side, just to even it out? Okay. Up and out and down, down. Yeah, ring the bell. Down, down, yeah. And then internal, internal, internal. Yeah. See, that's the part we're trying to smooth out. And now I'm going to help you a little bit in this space.
Yeah.
There's tightness at the edges, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So we really work with the spirals. There we go. Internal and external spiral. That's it. There we go. And I'm actually going to pull out a little bit too, because that really helps the joint. Yeah, if the arms want to play and participate, that's great too. Let's have you flex. Let's have you flex the foot, because we're going to work on the internal and external spiral. There we go. Let's just play right there.
Yeah, that's really tight.
Yeah.
And well, the thing is, give me a second here, because
Yeah.
I realize I'm tightening on this side. So I'm gonna breathe for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, now.
Yeah. Good. Whenever you feel that tightness, that's great. Just pause and have like a bit of a reset. Let's just play with a tiny little movement. Yeah. And while I'm holding the foot, one of the reasons why I wanted you to flex is so I can pull on the heel. So isn't that nice to have that space?
Very nice.
A soft flex. A soft flex. Yeah. Really nice. See, there's a little bit of stickiness in there that we can find when we slow it down. But that's why I have you move through space so I can see where it's holding. So we're like, oh, it's not coming down as much. Okay, so we want to work on that stretch there. Yeah. And now we can start to bring it up to get the external rotation. So we have to go from here to get the external rotation. Your leg needs to come up, because this is the stretch for you. And now we stay here. You're like, oh, yay.
Oh, and now it clunked.
Kerplunk. Yeah, that's what we're smoothing out, is those clunkiness.
That's a little bit much on that hip for some reason.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
There. That's
So
nice to learn.
Yeah, so let's bring it down and let it relax in this position. You can even bend the knee a little bit more. Yeah. Because we know about those quads. They have truly loosened up over the years, but this is where it all lives for you.
Oh, yes.
And right into the belly, right? Hip flexor into psoas. Good.
just going to do about 5 more minutes and then let you relax. So we're going to end with, then we're going to do the next leg. And then we're just going to end with some nice neck and shoulder stretches. But today was mainly a focus on the lower body for you. So we really want to give the hips plenty of time to open. Okay, go ahead and straighten that leg. Bring it up and around nice and slow.
Which
Towards me.
Towards you.
Up.
Straight
And
out.
out. Yeah. And hook.
Yeah, then it did it.
Mm-hmm. For
That
sure.
little break and
Yeah. Smoothed it out.
reset.
For sure. So yeah, some of that thickness and hardening that happens in the joints will soften and it'll smooth out. Okay, come on out to the side and stay here. So just even this stretch, right, for the hip. This is a wonderful stretch and a big stretch for that area that was injured, right? Just a little bit, and then we're going to come down, and then we're going to stretch again. Just let me know where it's tight. That's tight, right? Can you come back towards me? Yeah, right there. And if it becomes too much, let me know. And see if you can relax into it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was different, right?
Yeah, that was. Oh yes, that's
How's that? Yeah. And then come on down towards the table, internally rotate. And down. Down. Relax onto the table. Relax onto the table.
Oh, I didn't hear you. Sorry.
Okay.
Every once in a while, my hearing doesn't work.
The brain is not registering. Is that okay on the neck?
Yeah.
Let's try the arms open just to create this sense of openness. Yeah, beautiful. Just out to the sides. And in this position, we're really not trying to go anywhere. We're just letting all the connective tissue that holds the musculature to start to relax. When it relaxes, it creates space, allows for more mobility and fluidity. We're actually hydrating the cells by moving into these harmonic motions. It's very sweet. It's a very sweet way to heal, right?
Yeah.
And open up. We don't have to really effort and push. And I'm just going to work the hip flexor, psoas connection while we're here. Get into the belly. IT band. All of this stickiness that happens around the hips, the groin, the lymph, it starts to open up nice and easy. Water flows when we give it time, right?
Yes.
Gravity helps, like a waterfall. But we also, like a river, there's a current that runs through the body, and it'll just flow at its own pace and time. Very good. Let's go ahead and get your leg straight first, then towards me, creating an external rotation. External's the other way. Okay.
Now I'm backwards.
And wrap around. Yeah. How did that feel?
It felt great. What I understand that as I'm more comfortable doing this, and it's the first time, I can tell that I won't, I kept having to tell my opposite side, just
to
relax.
Yeah.
And that will not be necessary. I can feel that shift just in a couple times.
Yeah. Well, especially because you're laying on the table, so you can really just let yourself lay on the table, you know? So nice. Okay, so go ahead and hold on to the swing again. Let yourself do a little bicep curl, pull yourself up, land on the table. So just lift somewhere.
There, got it.
Yeah, just lift and lay
Can I
yourself.
just let my legs
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, and come to sit. Yeah, so now let this slide up to the heart again. Your shirt is getting eaten.
Well, I'll put that back on in a second.
No worries.
Sorry, folks.
fine. Yeah, so go ahead, get everything
Both of
behind the heart. Yeah, everything behind the heart again if you can do it. Ups to daisies. There you go. Yeah, you have to kind of pull down to get the stretch. Yeah, so behind the upper. Yeah, upper. There you go. Back to chillaxing arms. You can keep the legs straight or bent, and I want you to just sway and play and just enjoy recalibrating, landing, integrating, all those sweet words. All that we just did, feeling into your hips, feeling into your legs, noticing the difference between when you first came in and now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What are you noticing? Like, what are you feeling? Just take inventory. Just notice if there's a little bit more softness or space or lightness, whatever it is. Just welcome it by acknowledging it, welcoming it home. And I get on the table quite often and I just do this sweet, gentle rocking, letting my upper body be supported. I usually bend my knees and windshield wiper and sway both the upper and lower bodies, kind of like seaweed, right? We're just like allowing ourselves to be nice and easy and slow. Very good. And then we're gonna let all of the fabric slide up really gently to the neck. Okay, so let the arms come through. You're kind of spring-loaded, so gently here. Yeah. Whoop. There you go. More like Jello. Yeah, and keep holding on. That's great, but a little bit higher. Yeah, so that way, yeah, there's some room and space here. And then all you're going to do is let the fabric, well, first of all, it's going to hold the head, but you're going to let it traction and stretch the neck. So you're going to nod, lifting and lowering the chin while you're pulling. Just let that work out any neck and shoulder tension that's living up here. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's it. And as you're getting looser, more comfortable with that, you can also go from side to side. Let the ear come towards the shoulder. And if it feels good to push and pull a little in the space, then great. Otherwise, just let it be a sway.
I'm particularly tight on my right jaw and ear, so I'm enjoying pushing into it a little bit.
Yeah, do that for sure. And you can hang out at the edges and still nod too, if you get into a nice spot. And so the right hip and the right jaw are the same. They're kind of like holographic representations of the whole.
Oh.
So the jaw represents the hips, right? So it's good to be aware of like, oh, the right side mimicking one another. Sometimes there can be a diagonal that happens in the body too, especially if there's a torque or twist in the spine. A lot of times they'll just be mirroring each other. So I'm going to come in and give a little help there. So I can deepen the stretch by twisting and pulling.
Yeah.
Doing a little bit of squeeze towards the center line. Ah, that's beautiful. Lift your chin just slightly. Lift your chin just slightly. There you go.
My ears are covered.
I know. You're like, right? What is she saying? I know. They're covered and then I'm covering them. So you're like, ha ha ha. Oh. Cool. So the last one we're going to do is you're going to go ahead and twist and turn, and I'm going to pull with you. Yeah. You can strengthen that opening there. Beautiful. Ah. That's it. Let's try that on the other side. Yeah, I'm just coming in and assisting your stretch. Yeah, and let the fascia open, the connective tissue there. That's it. Beautiful. Really good. Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and let you just come down onto the table for final relaxation. Mm-hmm. And what I like to do is I'm going to actually end where we began. And we're going to put your knees in the yellow one. Mm-hmm. You
Gives a little bit of extra support. And then your legs in the blue one. Sometimes I'll do it the opposite way, but I like both. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. And just let the lower body be supported. Knees can be bent or straight. Just let the body really land and relax. Sometimes I'll get you into cocoon on the table, but we're going to save that for next time. So just let the lower body be supported and the upper body completely lets go. That's what it's like to just let the arms open. Yeah, really land. Really let the table hold you. Just that feeling of just semi-suspension, just the lower body suspended. And I'm gonna place a laser on the heart and belly just to do a bit of quantum recalibration while we're here. Really good work. We're balancing the energy centers, letting them have new information to create different signals, different synapses and circuitry, particularly along the spine communicating to the legs. That was our focus for today.